So hey, hi, hello, welcome back to our final read-along vlog for Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by VE Schwab. I'm really excited, but let's get into the vloggy bits first. So Caddy just died. Yeah, it's gonna happen. And is it true that if Alice kills Sabine, she'll get her humanity back? I'm wondering. Kind of hoping not. Kind of hoping so. It would be a really good ending. Sabine's wearing chainmail, so a lot of things up in the air. I've got like, hold on, this sliver left. It's like 10 pages, I think. I'm at 321, and oh shit, Lottie lied. Alice isn't coming back, and I think Lottie's about to go bye-bye too. Ooh. Well then, kind of a semi-nice, like, sweet ending to the story. Alice gaining her own, conquering her demons, killing Lottie and Sabine, ending their cycle. I don't know quite how I feel about her killing Lottie yet. I am kind of like proud of her for that, because as much as Lottie, through learning about her and the abusive relationship she was in with Sabine, she played with Alice too. Like, it was a game and Alice was a pawn, and I kind of get the cold anger and revenge of wanting to kill Lottie and using her mom and her sister to do so. I don't know, we'll talk about it when I do my wrap up. But also, I really liked the last bit where Dad calls and she talks to Dad, and it makes me wonder, like, if you just admit it to your parents, will they help you hide? Mine would. Alright, well, I'll be back with my final thoughts here in a little while. I really liked the ending, and how it's kind of a non-ending but an ending. I don't know, best books do that for me. Let you come up with what you think the rest of their life is going to be like. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so, wow, I really enjoyed this book, like, so enjoyed this book, loved this book, 5 stars, absolutely. And I'm going to keep shaking it around, so I'm going to put it down, because, yes, just in general, like, wow, you saw my reaction at the end, just was not expecting it, so happily not expecting it, not until like right before it happened expecting it, and that's hard to do. That's hard to do to me. So I really appreciated her ability to not only fool me, but also have perfectly set up exactly what was going to happen. Like, it was almost inevitable that this happened. All the pieces were in place, which is good writing. It's just good writing. And VE Schwab is a master at weaving these complex tales and making them not only layered as it is, but beautifully written. Depth of character. There's a reason for everything, and I really enjoy that about this book. So let's get into some of the nitty-gritty details about the last quarter of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. So first, Sabine's slow decline was really interesting. Again, really well set up, because we see like hints of that darkness starting to appear. She didn't seem like too bad of a person. When she was a human, she wasn't a bad person. I mean, we knew that she was too much for her time being a woman, and that she'd never flourished that way. So her becoming a vampire was like this blooming, as she keeps saying, and as she bloomed into this person who she was meant to be. Only Sabine was like, she was morally gray, more or less. She treated humans like food. She did it in a way initially that was pretty monstrous, and then secondary it was a little bit less monstrous and more in control, but still kind of fucked up. Like, what she did when she befriended these people before she ate them, and how it made it even sweeter, and that kind of thing was really telling on how her decline would go. And then her eating this young girl as she screamed, and Charlotte was like horrified, showing up covered in blood, not knowing where she is. I mean, we have this set up that a vampire soul decays and they become less human. The human parts of them decay until there's nothing left but a monster, essentially. In Sabine, we are shown that start and decline, only she didn't start quite as high as, say, Charlotte or Alice started. And her dichotomy with Charlotte, because Charlotte is soft, she's sweet, she feels guilty about hurting people, she doesn't want to kill people, which of course is also reflected in Alice. She was not the right person for Sabine, and she balanced her for a while, but she wasn't going to be able to stand up to her, and it was pretty much the perfect setup for a toxic relationship, for an abusive relationship. So we were set up for that. And so it's not all that hard to believe that Sabine would just go kill Charlotte's lovers once Charlotte left. And I mean, she knew she had to know. She had to know that Charlotte was going to leave at some point. She expected her to grow out of all the softness, but Sabine never had that softness when she was Maria. Like, she never had that. And Charlotte was full of it, so why would she expect Charlotte to change when she hasn't changed? You know, it's like one of those things. I feel like that young girl was like the beginning of the end of their relationship. Or was it? I mean, I don't remember the exact order that things happened in, but there are 3 specific things that kind of marked those red flags for me. One was their anniversary twofold in the pendant she brought from essentially Charlotte's first kill, the young man who proposed to her. The same night she meets those other 2 vampires, the vampire couple, and how Sabine reacts and how Charlotte reacts are very different. Also another red flag to what's going on. And then of course the young girl that she kills in Charlotte's hometown, essentially. Those all read the foreshadowing of Charlotte's going to try to kill Sabine, which of course Sabine knows that these are the kinds of things that might happen. She makes her promise. We talked about this, and that setup was perfect because Charlotte was not able to follow through when she wanted to kill Sabine. So her only choice essentially was to run, and she gained those connections to run, and she used them, which I'm very happy she did. You know, went over to the Americas, etc. She should have known Sabine would find her. I mean, come on. And then when she fell into complacency and like finally started to love again, started to live her life again, the consequences came back. Like, I understand there's this really interesting dichotomy of like living. So is there a point of living if you don't make connections? How long can you go without going crazy, you know, without those connections? And weighing that against the likelihood that they're going to die if you make that connection with them. Like, it's this really hard thing, especially for someone like Charlotte, I feel like, to live with and not go crazy herself. So like, it sets up how she treats Alice at the end, and I get where she's coming from, but I also get why Alice did what she does. So Charlotte knows that Sabine needs to die and knows that she can't kill her and that she's not in her right mind, but Charlotte also doesn't seem like she's in the right mind, going back to what I was just talking about, after she loses her first lover. And she's not really in the right mindset to get this done and to do it in a good way. There's no good way to do this without potentially harming other people, right? But all of this like sets, I don't know, it all sets Alice up for this great moment too, where she steps into that power and is able to essentially take her own life back under her own control, not only by killing Sabine, which is a great moment we'll talk about in a second, but also to kill Lottie. Like, the metaphorical wiping the slate clean, getting her revenge totally and completely is so perfect for like the rebirth of who Alice is going to be post death. And the suddenness and ease in which Alice is able to kill Sabine is also quite miraculous. That lie that Alice is going to get her humanity back got me for a moment. Like, I was really hoping that maybe, but it makes more sense to have Lottie lie about that and to use Alice, which is a shitty move, but I can also get that it's the only way to get rid of Sabine, and that Alice's anger would be enough to drive her. And if Sabine's going to kill her lovers anyways, is she really sacrificing all that much by putting Alice in that situation? To Charlotte, no. To Alice, yes, absolutely. Which is why her reaction is well warranted. But it builds that exciting crescendo that happens, and like all of the slow build, and then bam, like she just does it. It's great. Especially when we get just enough tension out of those final moments where Alice is both remembering her dead sister, Caddy, and noticing that Sabine's wearing chainmail, so it's not going to be easy to get to her heart, and that her poisoning of the blood doesn't work because Sabine doesn't drink from anything that's not alive, that's already been decanted, as she says. So her going to take that shower and having Sabine follow her in there nude is like the perfect moment. And I love that Alice takes her shot. You know, that has a double entendre, so bad. Not what I meant, but like the only way that Alice was able to get that upper hand was that surprise moment where she was seen as weak and made Sabine vulnerable instead, and that was just like perfect. And because of that, there's no need to draw it out. Like in scene, there's not a lot that happens like in the true moment. We're mostly in Alice's head, in the backstory and all of that grief, all of that making vulnerable and seeing she's in a different headspace. So like all these other things, mundane parts of the tension building, go to the background, and we're just brought back from this trauma of losing Caddy, which was, like, I've been saying the whole time, something dark's gonna happen to Caddy. Like, it's sad, like so sad. It's just honestly heartbreaking. Maybe because I also had a friend who just lost her daughter, who was like in her early 20s in a car accident. So like the hit of that was so genuine and honest that it worked really well, and was kind of like the perfect punch for our final moment with Alice. Finally learning about her kind of letting it go in a way and staking her claim on her new life without her sister, metaphorically, in that moment. It was great. So you haven't guessed already, I think VE Schwab is a brilliant writer. She knows how to set up all the pins for like the perfect strike at the end, and that is again with that final two scenes, really, or three scenes with Sabine and Lottie, and then the phone call with her dad. Like, that's the perfect setup in Caddy. Like, and it's just boom, 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 and it just worked. It was I'm gonna gush, so I'm just gonna stop gushing. But just yes, it was a yes for me. I do feel really bad for Alice and how we learned about Caddy and what happened in that regard, because like Caddy was her person, right? The person she wanted to be, like her confidant, like the person who always protected her, the person who remembered her mother too. So like all of those things, I don't know. But losing her made Alice more herself in a way, like made her more able to live her own life, because she's doing it for her sister and her mother, both, you know, who are dead. Oh. So the way that she like kind of channels the tragedy of losing Caddy makes, upon reflection, makes Alice's move to kill Lottie all the more powerful, because I feel like that's something Caddy would do. Like, that's the way Caddy would stand up to it, stand against the horrors that have happened, especially since she was so mad at Lottie for getting her into this situation to begin with, that putting her yet into another dangerous situation where she could almost die, and having lied about it, like the manipulation in there, again, masterful stroke. And I don't think that Alice planned to kill Lottie. Obviously she planned to kill Sabine, but like when that moment struck and she didn't stop her from drinking the poison, and then she went ahead, even as she's scrambling back trying to save herself, killing her, that's her rebirth moment. I'm repeating myself. So for Alice having been thrust into this situation, overall that scene of killing Lottie is also a great scene, a great ending, because Alice finally gets to live, right? She gets the call from her dad. This is the afterword of Caddy's death and of her death, showing us why she took that trip to Boston to go to Harvard, which is where she's going to school, and was changed into a vampire. To be in a place where her mom existed before as well. So like she's getting all these connections to her family that's past. And this is a place where she kind of buries it, or at least buries the bad parts of it, and chooses to live her life for the both of them, especially for a sister an older sister that she's no older than. Like, it's poetic. So she's gonna go see the world that Caddy always wanted to see but never got to see, and I really like that. And you know, it's bittersweet, but like Caddy's last message to Alice fits this really well again. The message that she should live her life. Like, she should be able to live a lot of lives, and that's what she's going to get to do as a vampire. She's going to live a lot of lives, and why only get to live one? So because Alice is a vampire, she's going to get to live a ton of them, and it kind of connects to the idea that death is not the end, it's the start of something new. And that she's going to get to live, you know, that her sister will also get to live a lot of lives, because she's already passed that barrier and she gets to start again. And that goes, and the way Alice goes back to her life, where she's just chatting to her dad as she's walking home, and like, you know, it's fine. She doesn't need to talk to him because she's safe enough. She's the predator now, but she talks to him as it was, and how this is kind of the setup for how her life will change, because she's changed in so many ways in such a short time. I don't know. It's that perfect end moment where we don't know what's in her future, but we can guess, we can make guesses, and that kind of makes it personal for us. Like, we become invested in it when we make those connections ourselves, instead of being shown what's going to happen to her. But that her life does get back to some kind of normal is a really nice note to end on. Well done, VE Schwab. let me know. I mean, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think about the book. Did you get to read the whole thing? Was there anything that you didn't like going on in here? Do you feel like she pulled one over on you? Do you wish that there was a happier ending? I want to know about that in the comments below. And y'all, next week we will be starting a new book, which is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. We are going to be reading up to chapter 6, which I think is page 86. I'm going to be starting that next week in a new vlog. But y'all, thank you so much for being here and my chaoticness. And y'all, I will see you next time. Okay, bye.